what's something that like you could post throughout the day? Like, all right, I'll give you an example. Last night we were at Denny's. I took a picture of that guy. Just by checking in at Denny's, hey, look, they got their specials. I'm just being, it's where I am, guys.
Yeah, dude, just randomly ask
Okay,
us.
that's an example. What are some things? So like, we know, like, check-in places, right? With a purpose. It's best when you do value, like, this place is awesome to eat. If it is.
Or not.
Right.
Or something. Hey, well, so funny story. I actually I almost swallowed a piece of metal screw in ice cream at this one place.
Oh, no.
Because it actually fell in. And I checked in, I was like, if anyone wants metal in their food. And then they actually gave me free meals on it. I was like, I'm gonna delete it.
Right.
So it was like, I was like,
One way to get free food, it sounds like.
yeah, right? So now I sound like a jerk, but, so check in, what else? It was not rude, I was like, yeah, I have a lot of followers. No, it wasn't like that, it was like, without saying anything, I was like,
You were being real.
I'm gonna delete this post. Purposely, right? What's another thing you can do? Anybody?
I target my market.
And how would you do it?
Like, I know right now the market is crazy for VA buyers. So when I post information about a house, I immediately tag somebody who's a VA buyer, but I also put the information of how much the house will cost you. So it's the first thing people ask is, they don't wanna know how much the house is, how much is it gonna cost me?
Got it.
Because you don't know that. You don't know what PITI means, no clue, you never bought a house.
So what you're saying is, you're gonna give information. Can you write this actually? Speed. I'm trying to learn here, Maria.
Education.
So you're giving information to someone that you could help
Right.
through tagging something. Right? What's another thing?
Entertainment.
Entertainment.
Yeah, I love humor.
Right? Entertainment. Wait, that could be a big category. What's an example of entertainment? Put an example or something.
Cats and kids.
My kid's doing karate.
Yeah,
At 6 a.m.
real stuff, like funny stuff, right?
Yep,
Human stuff.
yep.
Emotional stuff.
Emotional stuff. Yeah, just put it, just put the list, right?
Family.
We're gonna keep learning.
Yeah, keep running. Because we can take this, now this is your platform, right? It's hard to come up with ideas when you don't have an outline. Well, family,
Long form written content.
like
Style.
your blog and whatnot.
Like a long post telling a story.
Yeah, good.
Could engage people.
Like a story type thing.
Brandon Stevens does every freaking post he does.
Yeah, storytelling in general is always gonna
Yes.
That's something that massively I've learned from Jeremy is contextual storytelling. So you're basically like stories sell.
Yeah.
All the time. They're gonna buy why you're a realtor or why I'm gonna do events. They're gonna buy that way more than they buy the house.
Yep.
If you can prove the fact that you're passionately doing what you wanna do,
Right.
they're gonna buy that.
Now, to that point, who knows more about the light switch? The individual that just knows when you turn it on, it goes on, or the individual that knows the mechanisms behind it?
Right.
The
Who?
electrician.
Electrician.
The electrician.
Okay. The electrician is the expert in their field, correct? Therefore, they get paid for their.
Knowledge.
So why? Who can answer this? And if not, we're gonna break it down so we can become electricians. Storytelling. Wow. That's it. Why is the story so important to the human, how the human mind works? Does anyone know?
This gives you like a map that you can kinda go by.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. We're gonna run with that. Who's seen a terrible movie? Yeah?
The shallow house.
Okay. Now, did the storyline, was it really great or did it suck?
Awful.
There was none.
Okay, now the best movie you've ever seen, did the storyline suck or was it awesome?
Oh, awesome.
Titanic is great.
Okay. Keep that in mind. You said a map, right? If all things that manifest materialistically started with a thought, then we have the ability to visualize the roadmap of a potential future. In our brain, the limbic system holds the foundation of our emotive understanding. And through storytelling, we can visualize a new, greater, or more destructive outcome. In education, they call it pedagogy and curriculum.
Right.
Curriculum is like the logic, what you got to do. Like today, it's all about the pedagogy that inspires the thought of like how. Curriculum. Storytelling. How many stories have I told today? Okay. It worked for Jesus.
Right.
Seriously. Okay. Because neurologically, our brain works that way. That's why Simon Sinek, for example, said, start with why. So there's, anyway, food for thought. Understanding the how behind the light bulb, we become an expert in getting people to meet us where we are so we can help solve the problem. And it all starts with a story. Because it's not about intelligence. It's about imagination. The genius who's never thought he could can't. You're imagining the future of your business. So through storytelling, your family, your friends, your life, this is all a story for why someone says, I want to meet this person, and then maybe we'll do business. What's another thing you can do to paint the story of your life and why people want to do business with you? Got it.
Because you have a solution to that problem.
Okay. So you mean like information about what you know that can help you?
So you being a digital marketing expert, blasting out value content about digital marketing.
Right.
Think about it. Let's take today. Right? How often do you meet people in business that are willing to give first? Right? Based on what we've talked about today, could you leave here today and take actionable steps on something, like on something, on a bunch of things? Facebook, your vision for your business, correct? I do this every day in front of the camera.
Right.
When I make those YouTube videos. While we were sitting here, a really awesome girl, I don't know, sent me like this massive paragraph of, I gotta read it. I didn't get to read it yet. But it was authentic. It was like, I appreciate that video did last week. Because this can be done every day. So you think, all right, what can you post? When is your show going to be? How are you going to do your content? One thing, and I guess I want to have Rob come up here and give a little bit in a minute of how we actually did it, just authentically without doing ads even.
Yeah, for sure. That's the big thing that I try to help with is less money. You can do it all through your personal page, 5,000 friends.
Yeah.
You start with a personal page. You start now, like, remember, in the beginning of your business, whatever it is, it's about meeting people and solving the problem. So for the first time in history, in a very small geographic, destination, you can have exponentially more than Dunbar's number of people that know who you are.
Right.
So you go to networking events, right? What's a better way to go to a networking event? For everybody to know you there already, but not have done business with you. Neurologically, that's, Ty Lopez would be like, oh, that's this cognitive bias and that's this cognitive bias. It's just called human nature. Let's go with it, right? So, right, I have an example. I have a client. She's only been 5 weeks. We broke this down. So, what she invested in me, this is one of the things we did. It's like she's going to places. She's like, everybody knows me. They're watching my live every week. I'm like, I know, I work. I love it.
Right.
I'm not just cute.
You're the only person out there doing this.
Right.
You're doing, so this is the conundrum, right? You ready for this? This is like, anyone watching this, because we all want to get to the point where we're crushing it, right? We're making enough money to pay for what we got to do and maybe go on a vacation, whatever. Most of the high income earners that I meet stopped doing what got them to where they were and work just from the business that they have, from the people they know, and then they go, I can't seem to find the right people. And I'm not making that accent just because of the day, I'm sorry. That's what they say to me. I can't seem to find the right people. You stop doing the behavior that your children would have respected of you to learn. Because your people are too busy watching what you do to listen to what you have to say. So they stop doing, for example, the calls that got them where they were, to the strangers they didn't know yet. They stopped doing those actionable steps. And so now, they're working too hard, too long, and spending more than they make. So they make 900 and they spend 910,000. When what they should have done is what? Kept doing some of the behavior that got them there, and then use that to inspire the new people to actually do it.
Right.
For the first time in history, this is what's interesting. Facebook and media platforms have made that easier because that person, when they build a brand, right, the definition of a brand is simple. The belief consumers have in you to solve a problem. The brand, right? Belief people have in you to solve whatever problem you solve. When they built that brand through their online, they can teach their employees how to do that. And it's like you have that sphere of influence, that farm of people knowing you and trusting you without ever doing business with them. Does that make sense? I usually find there's, three main clients or types of people. Say you could go for like the startup, right? But let's talk about people that have business for long enough years that they're making, a couple $100,000 a year, but they're by themselves and they're just like working like crazy hours, they're overwhelmed, and they're thinking about maybe getting an assistant or scaling. And they don't even know where to start. They're afraid that if they bring someone on, it's going to be too much trouble. So they're trying to sell maybe like higher, right? Like houses. We talked about this last night. I'm going to sell a higher level house and I'll do better. At the end of the day, you're still working in your business. Right? Biologically, our job is to learn, think, and share and grow others, or else we'd be spiders. So that doesn't work. Eventually you're like, I hope that 401k works out because I got to stop working, I'm tired. It's the first kind of person. The second has a couple people that align with that. Like they have employees and they're doing, high six figures, but they can't quite get to 7. And they've been in business long enough where they're working their sphere. You see it in real estate all the time. Right? The mega agent with the lots of agents that get drawn to them, but they're still majority. They're 70% of the business. And it's like they lost their mojo because it's not fun anymore. Because they're making a ton, they're spending a ton, they're marketing, they're giving the leads to these people that want to do the business, and if the business isn't getting done. And they say, this is what they say, I just can't seem to find the right people.
Right.
When they really need to be better parents. Then there's the client that, and now wait, to that point, the reason there are people that follow them is because they share the beliefs that they have.
Right.
But it's such a small percentage. Now, then there's the company that gets up to like 50 employees, right? Why? When you actually study and observe them, they have specific character traits that are always in alignment that other people are drawn to them that are leaders, and they've been able to actually do what they say so people respect what they do, and the people are inspired, and then they learn, and then they do it. And the company starts growing. And this is where the fallout happens is small groups start to form that are out of alignment with the overall vision. And it's called bureaucracy. That is a natural biological B response. Like, it's humanity. The thing that takes them to the next level of those companies is what we talked about earlier today. Finding it, transcribing it, doing daily. And the fourth type of company is like the Walmart, right? That had the vision and then lost it and wants to get back to it, but isn't quite sure how because everything has changed. So think of all the real estate companies right now that crushed it back in the day.
Yeah.
However, what's happening? What's happened in taxis and Uber and Airbnb and hotels and what's happening in blockchain and banks is happening in real estate.
Yeah.
That's why we're sitting here today like, all right, the billboard isn't working anymore. We can't even quantify where we're at. How do we grow our business? The first thing you do if you're on if you are on no budget even, are the 5 principles of Facebook. Post authentically, post often, comment, like, share, be on it
Right.
just throughout the day. Does it make sense?